MLS Aces Podcast. This is your host, Tom Sweezy. This is episode 336. I almost said that backwards, but Jason, we are here another glorious week. And I think the topics we have this week might be the most fun we've had in the last handful. So I'm excited.
Yeah, they're definitely fun. I'm trying to figure out how you said 336 backwards. But...
I was gonna go 363,
Is
but
that backwards?
I mean, whatever. You get it.
Yeah, I'm just
Mixed up,
kidding.
jumbled up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's some games we don't normally get to talk about this week that we get to talk about. So that's
Exactly.
fun.
So no disrespect to Major League Soccer, the league that we love and talk
Except for
about,
whenever Tom talks shit about your club.
like most weeks.
Like last week, he alienated like 4 fan bases.
Look, I've said this to you before, and I've said it on this podcast. If I'm talking shit, that means like I'm doing it out of love. Like that's a very like
it's harsh, but it's fair. That's
exactly.
what it is.
It's an East Coast New York. Like I talk shit because I care. That's why.
It's
If I wasn't
I
talking,
talk shit because I don't know what you're doing.
I had to say that early on with my wife. Like she was always like, "You're picking on me. Like why are you always messing with me? Because I love you. That's why I mess with you.
Yeah.
Like if I wasn't doing it, it means I don't care. So that is that's that. But let's roll into it because we do have a lot to talk about this week. And I think the number one thing we should be leading off the show with, right, is the Vancouver Whitecaps. You see it right here on the chest. I'm Whitecaps till I die. That's just how I feel this week. CONCACAF Champions Cup final is going to be on Sunday, June 1st, 9 p.m. Eastern. Cruz Azul of Liga MX hosting the Vancouver Whitecaps for the next opportunity for an MLS club in the modern day version of this tournament to win over every other club in the region, right? So just want to quickly go over how each of these teams have got here, and then Jason, I'm going to dive into your thoughts of how we feel just going in general. So Cruz Azul, they got here after a 7-0 aggregate win over Real Hope in the first round. Then they beat the Sounders 4-1 on an aggregate, beat Club America 2-1 on an aggregate in the third round, and then in the semifinals took down Tigres 4-1 on an aggregate. So far at home, Cruz Azul, 4 wins, 0 draws, 0 losses, 12 goals for, 2 goals against. They've been absolutely dominating, and they have the competition's leading goal scorer in Angel Sepulveda, who has 7 goals so far in this campaign. And then for the Whitecaps, they had a 3-2 aggregate win over Saprissa in the first round, a 3-3 aggregate advancing on away goals win over Monterrey in the second round. Same thing, 3-3 aggregate win advancing on away goals over Pumas in the third round. Then the dominant 5-0 aggregate win over Inter Miami in the semifinals. They are here in the finals. Whitecaps are 1 win, 2 draws, and 1 loss away from home so far in this competition. 8 goals for, 7 goals against on the road. And just for a few notes, Whitecaps, they will be without Sebastian Berhalter for the final, who I saw Tom Bogert say should be player of the tournament. I fully agree with that sentiment so far. And the Whitecaps also have the competition's second leading goal scorer, Brian White, who has 6 goals. Just 1 back from Sepulveda from Cruz Azul. So, Jason, with all of that laid out there, I need your thoughts. Maybe it's brain, maybe it's heart, whatever you're coming from with this. How are you feeling about the Whitecaps entering into Sunday?
The brain and heart are feeling the same way. I'm I'm on the Whitecaps train. I feel like I've been here for a while. I'm not trying to hop off now. I personally think like not talking about Cruz Azul, obviously great team. They made it here, deserving. Probably a very tough out. I feel good because of Vancouver's run so far. Like, sure, the 8 goals for, 7 goals against away from home doesn't sound amazing. And the 1 win, the record doesn't sound amazing. But I think that just looking at those numbers on their own doesn't actually help that much. It actually hurts because they advanced in both away legs against Liga MX teams, right?
Yeah, the 1 loss was against Saprissa, which is funny enough.
It is funny, but like it almost is like those 2 draws are should be wins because they advanced on away goals. Like they did what they needed to do in those games, which like incredible. Obviously, this team isn't scared. I think where they are in MLS and how they've played every team is not a team that's afraid to rotate. I think,
Mhm.
sure, losing some players, they haven't had Ryan Gauld for most of the season. They haven't had, they're not going to have Sebastian Berhalter here, which, again, like I think red card accumulation or whatever, yellow card, it should be reset for a final. I hate
I,
it so much,
I
but
agree.
um, it's this team has been next man up the whole time. Like we've seen Pedro Vite come off the bench. We've seen him start. We've seen Brian White come off the bench. We've seen Jaden Nelson come off the bench. Like
Yeah.
I think what they're doing is really high quality rotation. I think they know it's something that I've always praised Columbus for and Wilfred Nancy, which is just like know what you need to do when you go onto the field, or whether you're starting, whether you're coming in the 70th minute, 90th minute. Like I think this team and Sorensen basically have it where they know what they need to do when they're entering. At be it whatever time. Plus, Brian White's gonna score, man. Like he's gonna get his goals. Like,
If
and
I
I didn't even talk about the beatdown of Miami. Like
Yeah,
away from home in that game too.
traveling across country, like that
Yeah,
is prop not I don't know actual distance, I will say that, but I'm going to assume that is one of the longer road trips in Major League Soccer from the Pacific
Vancouver.
Northwest to
Yeah, I
the
mean that
yeah.
probably is the longest. I'm trying to think of what could be
Yeah, I'm
longer.
just
Like
saying,
New
I'm
York
sure
Red Bulls to or Yankee Stadium to San Diego.
Toronto to San Diego. I mean, San Diego definitely has to be a pain in the ass. I drove it from LA to San
It's
Diego
also
one
not
time.
easy. Like I've been to San Diego and I don't remember it being that like
It's not
accessible.
easy to get to.
Yeah.
No, it's I've done the drive. It's a pain, it is what it is. It's a beautiful.
Basically, my point is Vancouver's essentially looked at any opponent
Yeah.
at the same way. Like I don't think they're going into this game. And I think I said this when it was Cruz Azul versus Tigres, and I said I don't know if it really matters. Like I don't think they're looking. I mean, obviously they're looking at the players and the tactics and stuff, whatever. But I don't think they're looking at the team like, oh, I would have rather played this team, or I would have rather played Tigres, or I don't know,
Yeah.
or LAFC. Like I don't think they. Well, maybe they wouldn't want to play LAFC given their history. But I don't know. I think I'm pretty confident because I believe in what Vancouver has been doing this whole season. Like they've now given us what 16 weeks, I guess 15 games played in MLS, and then we've seen multiple double leg Champions Cup games.
Yeah.
So like I believe in what they've shown me so far, and that's that regardless, they're not going to ever be out of the game.
I think mentality wise, this team is in it. I think with what they've done, you mentioned it, right? Getting two road draws in Mexico. Yes, you prefer those or a win somewhere, but ultimately they got done what needed to be done to advance and move on. This team has that mentality. It seems like that they are going to once again do anything that they have to do in order to win at the end of 90 minutes, whether that's regulation, whether that's extra time, whether that's PKs, whatever it may be. They
Yeah, I
have.
mean, was it the Pumas game that they scored in like the 90th
Yeah,
minute?
it
Yeah,
was Tristan Blackman, Pumas, like I mean, and
Sebastian Berhalter, right?
not to just list off individuals because we've done that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to throw you into the boat with me. I've specifically done that because I love so many of the individuals on this
I
Whitecaps.
love the players, man, but this is the my like every player matters. Like you could mention the 18th guy.
I think the way that you mentioned Columbus before makes sense to me because it's right. Like Wilfred Nance's system is such a dominant, different system that we've seen in Major League Soccer for a long time. That's what got them to the final last year, and that's where you and I
And
were
it's a
having the
it's a
same
confident system.
100. And it's
Yeah.
more ball control. It's dominant. It's a little bit of a belief. There's no true star. Yes, Cucho was the star, but you know. I feel like that mentality is almost transitioned over to the Whitecaps, where there's no true star. Yeah, if Ryan Gauld was here and healthy, he'd probably be the Cucho-esque star on the team. But the entire team needs to function together for the mentality and the dominance to work, and we've seen that from the Whitecaps and MLS play to Champions Cup play, right? The thing that I also love is that the Whitecaps they're undefeated in their last 15 games across all competitions. Like
Pretty
whether it's
good.
Canadian Championship, MLS, Champions Cup, they are making sure they are fighting and dragging their way into results. The last loss was to your Chicago Fire, Jason. So feel good about that.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see it. I don't know. I just ultimately think this is going to be a great game. Where I didn't have belief in the Whitecaps early, right? Especially, I think what was it the first away game they had to go to Mexico and Monterrey. I was like, yeah, the Whitecaps aren't doing it. Then Pumas got me believing. Then Miami got me believing even more. I'm a full-on believer now. I think that Jesper Sorensen has something special. He's bottled something special here, and he's getting contributions from his quote unquote best 11 down to roster guys 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I love it. I love seeing it. I think the Whitecaps should win. I think the Whitecaps will win. But there is just a piece of me of just Champions Cup heartbreak. And I look at the Crew from last year, and in my brain, I'm like, if Columbus couldn't do it last year, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, it's tough because I think ingrained in us is so many
just heartbreak moments.
But the thing is, like, it also hurts because like Vancouver has done the thing already twice, right? This run.
And Columbus did it too. Remember,
I would love to know how many teams, MLS teams, have gone into Mexico and even put up 3 goals. I don't care about how many they let in. I like putting up 3 goals in. Did they put them up in those stadiums? I don't know. They might have been 2.
It was 3 across an aggregate, but still, I get what you're saying.
I think they put up 2.
Yeah, it was multi-goal performances. Yeah. I'm pulling it up if you want to keep with your point. But
I mean, my point is like this team feels, and it goes back to that confidence thing, and it's like a belief that I don't think they look at Liga MX teams and get nervous or get scared or like, oh, we're going to play counterattack, give them the ball, try and counter and get a nice, steal a goal. Like, I don't think they're thinking that at all. I think they're going into it going, no, we're going to dominate the game. And I think that's what they want to do.
I will also just say, I hate that the entire competition's 2 legs, and then you get to the point of the final and it's 1 leg. Like, I get it. You want the big game feel. I get the whole thing, but like,
I don't really want a final that's 2 legs. I'm going to be honest.
But I just think it's like a little like maybe whatever. That's
I mean, Champions League was like that for a while.
Yeah,
is it still like that?
No, yeah, it's a 1 leg final, and then they play.
They played
2 legs up to the 1 leg final or the final. Yeah, that's fine. I don't know.
Although they play the final in a neutral location, don't they?
Yeah, see, that would be nice.
I think that's what they should do for this game.
And
like every other year, it switches off or something.
Well, if you're talking CONCACAF Champions Cup, the final could be played in Canada. It could be played in the Dominican Republic with that stadium with the tree in the middle of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we could play this anywhere. Like, I think Kingston, Jamaica should have an argument for let's host the Champions Cup final here. I'm all for neutral site, so that might be the solution. I like that one.
I like the neutral site final.
Yeah, CONCACAF, get on it, okay? And I don't want it to see just in MLS
get on it. Like CONCACAF's ever doing anything.
Yeah,
like,
no, they're wherever they can make the money in Mexico or US.
They're just sitting there going, they're cashing checks. They go into work every day and they go, who's giving us a check today?
All right, so I'm going to safely assume you think the Vancouver Whitecaps exit.
I'm picking the Vancouver Whitecaps to win this game. The head and the heart say so.
Fair. I mean, I'm wearing the for a reason, okay? I mean, I want to see a good traveling support from the Whitecaps fans, and apparently there will be, I think, like I saw like a rough number estimate of like 2,000, which would be cool. I would like to see that. And I would like to see the Whitecaps come away as champions of CONCACAF, and Cascadia really would just be dominating the modern version of the CONCACAF Champions Cup when we talk.
I mean, Cascadia is kind of dominating everything at the moment.
Yeah, that's fair. That's 100% fair. That's 100% fair. The only thing that I heard, and again, not anything that I'm saying that's probably new to people, is that the Whitecaps apparently called up the Columbus Crew organization to talk about food poisoning and everything that we heard some reports about last year. So I
Yeah,
like it.
nobody gets sick. Can they bring in their own food, please? Like, just pack a bunch of PB&J, Uncrustables. Just
Yeah,
bring Uncrustables, man.
and you guys can get as food sick afterwards as you want on whatever you want, but you're only
I don't know if it'll be food sick if they win.
yeah, it's fair. That is fair. All right, cool. Let's move into the other international matchup that we are going to see this weekend. It is going to be the final. Well, it's going to be a game for the final FIFA Club World Cup spot. They're calling it a FIFA Club World Cup playoff game. It's fair, I guess. I don't really know what to call it. So
I mean, that feels like it. That is what it is, right?
yeah,
Like,
I just hate the word playoff, but I get it. But whatever.
well, like what?
I'm being nitpicky. I
Like
think.
when you get promoted in Europe, like it's a playoff. Oh, but that's like the actual.
Like the MLS Cup playoff.
It's like a play-in game almost.
Yeah. This is the NCAA tournament. One of those first four games that you see played on like two.
Yeah. This is like the Wednesday game or Tuesday game.
Exactly. All right. Well, whatever. The play-in game here for the FIFA Club World Cup that is starting in only a few weeks. But LAFC are going to be hosting Club America for the final spot in this summer's tournament. It's going to be this Saturday, May 31st at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. And I don't think you can watch it on any streaming service outside of like
Fubo,
the zone, all right, DAZN, the zone. Does it? I think it's how you say it. I don't know. So I'm sure people will find their ways to
Someone
watch it.
throw it on Twitch, please.
Yeah. Go on Reddit and find those links there.
Yeah.
But these two teams, they've only faced off two times before in their histories. It was in 2020 during the CONCACAF Champions Cup where LAFC won 3-1. Obviously 2020, a little bit of a asterisk year, I think, for a lot of players, clubs, and everything in between. But then in the 2022 Leagues Cup, LAFC and Club America drew in regulation, and LAFC would eventually lose on PKs. I went through the rosters from both 2020 and 2022. The only players left on this LAFC team from those games are Ryan Hollingshead and Eddie Segura. In their last 5 games each, Club America have 2 wins, 2 losses, and a draw. They just lost the Liga MX. This is an actual playoff final versus Toluca to lose and not get a trophy. So that kind of probably stings. So Club America are probably ready for a little bit of a comeback. And LAFC in their last 5, 2 wins, 3 draws, 0 losses, and they're coming off of a draw versus CF Montreal. Jason, I'm going to start off same question here in the same sense of how are you feeling mentality-wise for LAFC? I don't have an LAFC jersey to go throw on really quick, but how are you feeling mentality-wise for
You don't have an
LAFC?
LAFC jersey. Wow.
I don't. No, I don't. It's really a damn shame.
I think I'm feeling less good about this, but still pretty good. Like, if that's a cop out of an answer, call me out. But I think like LAFC are one of those teams that I have very high expectations of every year. And I think this year, personally, I think they're not necessarily living up to those expectations, but also there's been a decent amount of change. Uh, I think the Olivier Giroud movement here is not. I kind of want to see a Bobasi or Daz start.
Give me Nathan Ordaz fucking fouling the shit out of people. I think that's what
I want him to start in the middle, man. Just put him at number 9 and let's see what happens because I think he's really good, and I don't love the other 2 options. I like Jeremy Obobisi. I don't love Olivier Giroud and his non-goal scoring.
Well, Giroud scored like 2 games ago, I think, maybe.
Right, his first goal ever for LAFC. He's been here for a year now.
No,
I love Giroud as a player, and he's been in amazing games. He's won things, pretty much everywhere. He's a great player. It's not working with this LAFC team for whatever reason, and
Yeah.
I don't think forcing it is the right call. But that's another conversation, anyways. Like I think LAFC is another one of those teams, especially with Cherundolo still here, that is a confident team, is kind of got that attitude to them that they're not afraid. They're gonna play the way they want to play, which might be giving the other team the ball, but that might be their choice because I think like the Denny Bouanga just pulling something out of his ass, running up the wing, usually happens. Like it happens most of the time.
Yeah. No,
So I think some of their results this year, like the last few specifically versus the Galaxy. I mean, the Galaxy rivalry. I don't know. Montreal, not a great one. Beating Seattle 4-0 though, that's a huge result.
it's
I guess I'm not like thrilled because of the expectations. Like,
you know what kills me about this LAFC team is I agree with you. I feel good. I feel confident. It's Denny Bouanga. This team's played in finals. This team's won trophies.
it's lost a lot of finals.
This team has experience, but how many times do we talk up LAFC and then they just shit the bed in the one-off game?
I mean, they want this. They want to be, the conversation we always have that's like, this is what we want. Like, they want the
global recognition.
Yeah, and you're going to have to start winning some of these. You're going to have to start beating Columbus for one, like
it's difficult, and I do think LAFC can win this game, right? Because Club America, they Liga MX does a 2-leg final for everyone who doesn't watch Mexican soccer for their playoff. They're coming off a draw at home versus Toluca, and then they lost 2-0 in the last game of the season to decide who would take home the Liga MX. Title, whatever, 2-0 to Toluca away, right? So it's like that was only a week ago from when this game is going to be played. Club America, so they're still in form. They've been playing. Yes, they're coming off 2 bad performances or 2, whatever, non-wins ultimately, and you have to win this game. Is there a part of me that's like, they're not playing well, so LAFC can 100% maybe take a chance and dominate with it? There's also part of me that's like, we just lost a league title, so let's just go get maybe the second best prize, and that's about $10 million in a spot in Club World Cup. I mean, that doesn't sound like a bad, alternative to missing out on the league title. So,
I mean, there's also a chance that they lose that league title and they go, season's kind of over.
I don't think
sleepwalk their way.
I don't think either of these clubs see a just potential for a minimum of $9.5 million.
Yeah, but the players aren't seeing that shit.
But the players want to play in the Club World Cup. They want to go play against, what I think it's Chelsea and whoever else is in that group. Sorry, I know Chelsea off the top of my head definitely is in that group. Like they want to go play.
I mean, I think the stakes, I guess, in this game are so high for the clubs themselves, but like you're saying, yeah, of course they want to play in more competitions, but also there's definitely players on these teams, probably not as much on LAFC because they're just dead in the middle of the season, but there's definitely some players who are like, I kind of want a vacation. That's all I'm saying. I feel like there's people out there that are like that.
Look, and I think then that favors even more LAFC.
That's my point. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, look, I think if I don't know. I just there's this gut feeling in me that doesn't trust LAFC, that thinks Club America has been one of the dominant clubs, if not the dominant club in North America over the last 2 years, and I don't love that, and I think Club America wins, unfortunately, just based off those two things.
I think LAFC has just been a little inconsistent this year. Like when they're on, great team, very scary team. When they're not on, they're going to draw Montreal, like who haven't won a game or won one game.
That's my thing is just like, I think Club America are going to score because they are a team that has proven, and obviously not in the last 2 games, but has proven over the last few weeks, for their season that they can score and they can score a bunch of goals. And yes, LAFC want to counterattack and they want Club America to have the ball, but what happens if Club America comes off hot and then the counterattacking isn't working? And
also, I don't want to just rag on the French guys, but I haven't been that thrilled with Hugo Lloris this year.
I just don't want to rag on the French guys. That was a great way to put that. Yeah, no, it's fair. It's 100%.
I think it's fair criticism.
And Timothy Tillman, I'm pretty sure he's out injured for the next few weeks. So now you're down him. He's the only real main injury to this team. Yes, you have Frankie Amaya. Yes, you have Mark Delgado. Yes, you have, Igor Jesus, who's looked pretty good over his last few games at D mid. But I don't know. There's just too many gut things telling me no, and there's too many just non-confident factors that I have in
This
LA.
is the head says no, but the heart still says yes.
I mean, the heart's always
And
going to say.
I'm going with LAFC.
I'm going Club America, and then obviously for the Champions Cup final, we're both going Whitecaps. The
I'm
one thing,
going LAFC, I think, partially because I just think it would mean so much to have another MLS team in, and I
yeah,
want it so bad.
for sure. I was about to say something I don't agree with, so I'm not going to say it anymore. The only thing that I was just
No,
going to
I'm really
say,
curious. What?
I,
That's all the
I'll tell
listeners.
you after. The only thing that I was going to say that I forgot to say about Cruz Azul in the Champions Cup final is Cruz Azul. They last played a game on May 18th. I mean, from when the final's going to be played, that's 2 weeks. That's a 2-week span where they lost against Club America, funny enough. So maybe there's a little rust. Maybe there's a little rust in Cruz Azul's legs by the time that final comes around. That's all I'm going to say. Anything else in regards to either of these finals?
Try and have fun.
I mean, that is fair. That's fair. Try to have fun. Try to watch these games, enjoy, and if you can find the games, help us out. Send a link over or something like that. So the only other major piece of MLS news that I feel like we should really dive into, Jason, and I went off on a little mini rant, texting rant with you the other day, but Olof Mellberg has been fired as manager of St. Louis
Yeah,
City.
you were passionate. I'm gonna let you cook on this one because I don't know. I'll say what my piece, but
That's fine. I mean, mine is a larger. We'll get to it. So, really quick on Mellberg, the 47-year-old Swedish manager was only hired a few months ago by St. Louis City. He managed 17 games for the club, 15 in MLS, 2 in the Open Cup, with a record of 3 wins, 5 draws, and 9 losses, and a total goal differential of -9. He in St. Louis haven't won in MLS in 11 games, and their last win overall came 6 games ago when they beat Union Omaha of USL League One in the Open Cup, which, for an MLS team, I think beating a third division side should be an almost given. So good for you, I guess, in winning that one. My issue isn't with the firing of Olof Mellberg. That's fine. They've been bad. They haven't won in forever. You shouldn't celebrate off beating a third division side. Fire him if that's what you choose to do. I'm totally okay with that. My issue is more organizationally, and this is where I feel like I fall most of the time when it comes to managers getting fired in MLS. Major League Soccer is, I think, adapted and changed to a league where you can't just coast on by anymore, where I feel like maybe 15 years ago, roughly, or
I mean
10
you can coast, but we're all gonna know. Yeah.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying is you can't coast. I think you could
Okay.
coast on by and probably potentially finish in a playoff spot
Depending
10,
on
15 years
the
ago.
organization, if they're willing to let you coast, because some definitely are not trying as hard as others.
For sure. But I think overall what I'm saying is St. Louis City, for a club that's not that old, and Lutz Van den Steel and ownership and everything has come out that they're trying to win, they're trying to develop soccer, we're the soccer heart of America, blah blah blah, everything that they've said in their not too long history. You've now gone through 2 managers. You made a decision to hire this guy, and the ultimate quote from Lutz Van den Steel when he said, "It's the decision to part ways with Olof goes beyond just results. We analyze the team's performances across a number of factors, including the need to execute against the style of play that led to the team's initial success and has been part of our DNA for 4 years. As a club, we have certain standards, and we need to meet and believe a coaching change was necessary to improve our overall performance and return to winning culture. Our fans deserve a better performing team, and we intend to give them one." You just hired the guy less than 6 months ago. Like, you made the decision to hire him. You hold this club to this standard. Well, then you are fucking up the standard. I went back and forth a little bit with Matt Doyle on Blue Sky about this. And I agree with a lot of what Matt Doyle was saying. This team hasn't developed talent. This team hasn't really made a great signing. Berkey was a good signing. Edward Lovin has been a good signing, but he's been out obviously for his own injury reasons and personal reasons. Teutschert and Hartzell, they've been good, but I'm also not going to judge them based off of what's been less than a full season of soccer underneath their belt. Outside of that, what have they really done? Developed, sold? They fell ass backwards into Nico Giacchini and sold him for $2 million because they got him in an expansion draft. Like, they haven't had a dominant striker. They haven't had a dominant DP. I just don't like what St. Louis is doing, and then it all falls on, well, Mellberg sucked. No, he didn't. Your organization and how you're running it's sucking, and Mellberg, yes, he wasn't good as a manager. Let's call it what it is. It's not just all on him, but obviously the manager gets the brunt of that. So that was my mini St. Louis rant the other day. I'll let you say your piece to it.
I mean, my only thing to add is like going back to the statement that you read from the Let's Van and Steel.
Yep, nailed it.
I just like that really just exposes, I think, to me a little too much. Like, I think that statement is telling. Like, there's obvious disagreements, right? Like, he talks about improving overall performance and winning culture. Like, so what was the culture? Like, what did you? It's been what, 15? Well, I guess over 15 games if you include, Open Cup or whatever.
Yeah.
Preseason, I don't know, but roughly 15 MLS games. What were the interviews like when you hired him? Like, what did they expect to happen? I don't feel like it's, and I don't think I'm defending Olof being fired, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think I'm saying he shouldn't have been fired because obviously the results speak for themselves. They're not good, like you said. Just reiterate whatever you said. It's deserved. But at the same time, it's like, I don't understand how they went from interviewing a coach, hiring a coach. That tells me you believe in that coach for not even half the season later to be like, we disagreed on everything. But essentially is what this says is like, we are not on the same page. We've analyzed all of these factors or whatever that they wanted to analyze. They tried to figure out what was going wrong and it wasn't working. And it just seems like a really short time to kind of switch up, which makes me feel like there's larger issues in the club with whoever they hire next. If it doesn't work out, it's going to be another, like, what are these disagreements? Because I don't see how you can switch up that fast. And again, like, I usually advocate for more time. Like, it obviously has been bad. I'm not saying that he shouldn't have been fired. It just feels so fast based on, like, you believed in this guy to hire him, to give him money, to run your club for this season. It's not even been half the season.
Yeah.
I mean, we're close, but whatever. Like,
I mean, look, I agree. The one thing you said to me in text message, and I'm not sorry to expose the text message here, but I don't think it's bad.
I don't care.
You said, and because I had the same exact thought before you said it, it's approaching Charlotte FC territory of what.
Oh, you're gonna make them hate me.
I mean, but it's true though, and we've openly said it that Charlotte, they botched 2-3 managers before Dean Smith, and
I did say Charlotte. Yeah, I was like, wait, I did say that.
And it's true though. You're not going to have success if there's instability and there's constant rotation of players, managers, coaches, sporting direct, whatever it may be. You need stability somewhere in the club to anchor onto. And, if we're talking performances on the field, the performances on the field aren't going to be good if there's no anchor of a coach there. So that's my only last piece.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and I personally thought Charlotte was well past their problems. I'm not as sure anymore. I think
I think they are.
I mean, that depends on how long of a leash this goes for, but
I think they're and we can roll right into the match day 16 results and games and everything. And let's start, I guess, with Charlotte, because sure, we'll roll right.
We've talked about them so much already this year.
Exactly, and I'm not gonna beat a dead horse. Charlotte, to me, and maybe I'll kind of lump it into a larger conversation. Charlotte, the New York Red Bulls, who the Red Bulls beat Charlotte 4-2 midweek, and New York City FC, to me, are three clubs in the Eastern Conference that should be so much better than what they
Yeah.
are. And you see them dominant one week and they look great. And if just keep up performances like this, and you guys are going to put together
I
something.
actually think from a lesser extent, because I thought of this when you were talking about New York City, where I was like, the Fire are kind of similar at a worse, probably a tier down from those teams. But like some days we look amazing, some days horrible.
That's fair. To me though, I guess the drastic difference in games played isn't really there for the Fire, but I'm here
Yeah.
for an argument if you want to throw the Fire
I
into
mean, I'm not trying to tell them they're inconsistent. I mean, I think they're inconsistent, but like,
yeah.
who has a home record of 1-1-4?
Yeah, no, that's 100% fair. I mean, be bad on the road, like like if you're gonna be bad on the road, I guess. But so sure, New York City, Chicago, Red Bull, Charlotte. To me, it's like these teams have so much potential. There's good players, but it's just so inconsistent from
Is
match
this?
day to match day.
I mean, like when I look at their records, and especially these three teams, which ironically they're 7, 8, 9 in the standings right
Yeah,
now.
they're all well, which
Interesting
is
point,
probably why we're saying that.
um, but like look at the home versus away records. Like they all have 6 wins at home
hmm
in some form. So 6-2 for Charlotte, six
And
and
they're
three
all
for
awful
six.
on the road.
And they all have 1 win on the road, like in many losses outside. And I mean, this is something we talked about in the playoffs last year for New York City. It was a home team like all the time. That's when they perform. And I'm not like most teams outside of, I don't know, Philly right now,
The top ones, yeah.
Vancouver. Yeah, like the great teams are bad on the road. But the drastic difference between what team shows up at home and what team shows up on the road, I personally don't think they like that should be that big of a difference. And I don't know why that's happening. Like I don't are they going places that have these crazy atmospheres? Not
Uh,
really. I
well,
don't
look,
know if Yankee Stadium is
I mean, look, Yankee Stadium is
I mean
is
Yankee Stadium
is
actually
an
is a
absolute
home advantage. That's probably
an
the worst
absolute
example.
nightmare for
Yeah.
opposing players. But no, I understand what you're saying. And look, even just to maybe give New York City a little bit of credit, they've at least gotten what, almost half of
I
their
mean, they've been
or
much better than the other two teams on
they've
the
gotten
road, to be
results in
fair.
more
Yeah.
than half of their road games, compared to what Charlotte and the Red Bulls are, close to right there too. But yeah, it's I don't know. It pisses me off to an extent because I'm like, Red Bulls, you guys were just an MLS Cup, didn't really shift up too much. Same manager, all this stuff, and you guys are kind of just dwindling away here. New York City, to be fair, New York City didn't do shit in the offseason and got a new manager, and maybe they should be roughly in the same spot that they were in. Charlotte should be much better. Chicago, I'll give them a little bit of credit of new manager. You're figuring things out, a bunch of new players, but Chicago should be better. Yeah, it's kind of just shitty, is what I will say. Um, to specifically speak about the Red Bull Charlotte game, because I want to just touch on one player specifically, and I mentioned him last week, and I'll say it again for the Red Bulls. But Mohamed Sofo has been unbelievable. The 20-year-old striker winger, he can kind of play anywhere in the attack. He has now goals in 3 straight games. He has 6 goals in 11 games across all competitions this year for the Red Bulls. The Red Bull development pipeline is just always there. I wouldn't be surprised if you see, he's another 20-year-old that's going to move on to Europe sooner, probably rather than later type of deal. Or he's hanging around MLS for the next 10 years and just banging in shit. So I'm a big fan of Mohamed Sofo's game. I have to give, I guess, a Red Bull player some credit there. But that is my
That was
only thought.
painful.
That's my only thought on either of those two teams there. Anything in your brain about Charlotte or the Red Bulls that we haven't said, I guess?
That we haven't said, not really. I mean, I personally think the Red Bulls are, in my opinion, the least concerning of the three teams here.
Fair.
Like I'm not. I guess because I've seen what they can do, and it's like you said, it's pretty much the same team. Like they added what Choupo-Moting and I mean, I guess Sofo. So,
Yeah,
um,
Sofo got the call up from Red Bull too, and he's been taking advantage of it.
I mean, yeah, that's just Red Bull doing what Red Bull does.
Exactly. And then just to kind of quickly tie the bow on New York City lost 3-0 at home to the Houston Dynamo. So maybe the Yankee Stadium, territory isn't always the
No, they
most.
just ran into May Houston form.
Yeah, literally. And look, and New York City, whenever they move on from a player, it always feels like they just have a fucking spectacular game. When that player comes back to return to play New York City, Gabe Siegel revenge game, dude had a brace, didn't celebrate. I appreciated that, so we love you, Gabe Siegel, for that. But yeah, I mean, Houston, they've just been on fire as of late. And they're getting players back healthy. They're getting these late signings that they pulled in. They're getting them fully integrated into the team. Dwayne Holmes came on for the final 8 minutes in this one. He's been dealing with an injury ever since coming over from England. So Houston, they've been fun.
This
They've
is a
been good.
playoff team if they can be consistent.
If they can just stay healthy, I think
Yeah.
they fall ass backwards into the playoffs. Like with what we've seen from Ben Olsen, I just
Well, plus like the lower medium Western Conference teams are all kind of like pretty
yeah,
unfortunate.
I agree with you. I agree. All right. Move on. I'll let you, since I just went with Charlotte, Red Bulls, New York City, and Chicago, I guess, and all of that. Give me a game, a storyline, a team that you want to
Ooh,
talk about from
okay.
midweek.
Sorry, I wasn't prepared.
How dare you?
Dude, there wasn't like that many fun ones. You know what? Definitely, we need to talk about this because every week we go by, we don't talk about them.
I was waiting for it. I was
Portland,
honestly waiting for it. Yes.
Portland. Let's talk about Portland because they are continuing their good form to start the season. Um, not many losses, a decent amount of goals scored. Again, like not the strongest defensive performances out of
No.
Portland here. Um,
No.
but the signings are making a difference, right? Like David DaCosta making a difference, Anthony making a difference. Like they're getting a lot of production and it's pretty fun to watch. And they're not a team that kind of backs down. Like I think even if they go down, uh, one goal, two goals might be a little much for them to overcome. I don't think it is, but but like I think they're not a team that's like afraid.
Yeah.
I'm pretty impressed, especially like, you know what? I'll give Phil Neville credit in this one. That's big. Um, give them credit. Give the whole organization credit because I think I'd have to look, but I don't think we had them very high up going into the season, and they are proving all of us wrong. Right? Like week in and week out, they're putting in good performances or at least competitive performances. I don't know if they're always like my favorite to watch, and I don't know if they're always
Yeah.
they're like one of those teams that goes up on it, like goes up a goal or goes up two goals, and you're like, this might end 3-3. Like
For sure. I don't feel like when I'm watching a Portland game, I never feel like super
comfortable.
confident that I think the Timbers are going to pull out a
I
result
never
where
feel comfortable. It could be, but it's the same. It's the if they're down, you don't think they're just gonna like lose the game. If
no,
they're up, you don't think they're gonna close it out.
and I think that's definitely, if we're going to talk Phil Neville, I think if we're going to talk what is a staple of a Phil Neville team, a Phil Neville managed team, it is a team that can score out of nowhere and be fun and fast and score in that way. But it
Mhm.
is also a team that's going to let up goals and let up a
Yeah.
lot of goals over the course of a season. And yes, you mentioned it. They so far through 16 MLS games, they've allowed 22 goals and they've scored 25. Like they can score. They've done it. Anthony, you mentioned he has 5 goals, 5 assists on the season. Kevin Kelsey, who scored the game winner in this one, he has 5 goals on the season. He's looked way more consistent and productive than what we saw while he was on loan with Cincinnati last year. And yeah, did the Timbers get a win midweek versus the Colorado Rapids team that was down a man after the 67th minute? Yes, they did. But you take advantage of it and you beat the teams and you get the points. And that's what the Timbers did in this one. So, though I think the results have fallen off a little bit from that little bit of a hot stretch that they had, they're still in fifth place. And I think with where the Western Conference is and what I kind of foresee the Western Conference to look like for the rest of this year, I ultimately think the Timbers can finish in the top 4 spot. Do I think it will happen? No. But do I think it can happen? Yes. I think eventually the cream will rise to the crop. I think the Vancouvers, the Minnesotas, the Seattles, the LAFCs will figure it out and
Yeah.
kind of probably be that top 4 if I had an assumption. But I think
I mean, that
Portland,
basically. Did you say Minnesota in that?
Minnesota, Vancouver, Seattle, and LAFC, I
Yeah.
think are
Okay. I
still
think that is the top 4, and then I would probably put Houston,
San Diego, Houston,
San
Portland.
Diego,
I
San
think
Jose.
you want to talk about a team that scores in bunches and allows goals just as much. I think
With
that's
San Jose versus Portland. Yeah, let's put that as the play-in game, please.
just bet the over. Just bet the over on that.
Yeah.
Whatever
The over's probably
line,
like 7.
whatever line any sports book gives you, if it's Portland, San Jose, just bet the over. That's all I can say. We are not a gambling podcast, and I
No, we're
don't know what I'm
not. I don't
talking
even
about.
gamble.
So don't hold. I used to bet, like, I put money on the Super Bowl. That's pretty much
Yeah.
all I got. And then MLS Cup last year, I did put like $5 down, and I didn't win anything. So that's why I don't gamble. But yeah, Portland, very good call. We haven't talked about them. We've said we've
I
haven't.
felt like they deserved it, and I feel like I've said they need to be talked about more.
And 100%, and fair enough to you. And I'm gonna stick. I'm not gonna stick in Cascadia. I want to talk about Nashville SC because I think they're good, and I think they're maybe potentially very good. I don't know how I.
It throws me off that they're good. It really messes with me a bit.
So Nashville midweek drew Columbus 1-1. Columbus has not been playing well. They have 1 loss and 4 draws in their last 5. They've been struggling. We saw it on the weekend. We saw it midweek. But Nashville are playing very well right now. Undefeated in their last 9 games overall. Undefeated in their last 7 in Major League Soccer. And they're still an Open Cup. I think I'm gonna say they have a chance, very good chance of winning Open Cup if we're looking at the teams remaining.
You
Sam
should have left the
Surge,
matchups on here. I don't remember them.
yeah, it's fine because I wasn't talking Open Cup. I just want to say, I think they have, with how they've been playing, they have a good shot. Sam Surge coming off a brace on the weekend versus Toronto. Now he has a goal in this one. He has up to 9 goals on the season. Hani has 5 goals and 3 assists in his last, 5 games. He has 7 and 4 on the season. There's something about this team that isn't obviously as defensively dominant as we've seen in the past, but PJ Callahan's system has just allowed, I think, so much more space and freedom and fun and creativity for Hani and Sam Surridge to maybe be able to score and not have to, worry about doing everything offensively themselves. Guys like Patrick Yazbek and guys like Edward Tagseth and, Kasim, the young winger they brought in on a U22 deal. Like, they just allow so much more of control of the game where it's not like just ping it up to Hani and maybe him and Sam Surridge can team up for something. You know what I'm saying? And Andy
Which
Nahar,
never happened, by the way.
100%, 100, and this team is still, pretty fucking decent defensively. I'm not gonna say, oh my god, world beaters, but they're a pretty decent defensive squad still. So Nashville right now in Major League Soccer are up to 3rd in the Eastern Conference on 28 points. They're 5 points back from the Union in 1st. I like Nashville, and I did not think I'd be saying that at this much going into the season. So shout out Nashville.
I mean, I think you kind of nailed it. BJ Callahan's system is just a better system for these guys to play. Like, when's the last time has Sam Surge ever hit 9 goals in an MLS season? Is like it just feels,
No.
especially this early. Obviously, he hasn't hit it this early. I feel like we're watching Nashville sacrifice a little bit in defense, but not that much because they're still strong, like you're saying, defensively. But to really, really improve their attack, because I don't want to just repeat what you're saying, but like the Hani do something special is not really that doesn't really work. So like I agree. I think this team, like I really can't add that much. I think this team is good. I think they're gonna stay pretty good. I don't know if I have him in my top 4 at the end of the season still, but maybe.
No, but I think if we're talking BJ Callahan's first full season, this is an unbelievable start
Yeah,
to
no.
that.
I mean, we've seen Nashville try to get back to that, one season, and they have not.
Yeah.
So,
that one year they made it
like,
Eastern final, I think.
just getting them to be competitive again is amazing. Like, they
Yeah.
were one of the worst teams in the league for some of those years.
Yeah. No, 100% fair. And for the Sam Surridge question that you had, in his first year in 2023, he had 5 goals, 2 assists across roughly 1,000 minutes in all competitions. Last year, he had 15 goals and 3 assists
Oh, he had
across
way more goals than I thought.
across roughly 2,500 minutes. And now this year he has 9 goals, 2 assists across roughly 1,400 minutes. So he's on pace for his best season yet in a Nashville SC
It's
jersey.
not as drastic as I feel like it is, but
Yeah, it's fair.
it's not as big of a difference as I like in my mind I thought it was, but I think the way they play makes me feel that's a bigger difference. Like,
That's
are you more the amount of times I've seen Sam Surridge miss sitters before this season,
but
and
he's not missing them this year.
that's what I mean.
Thing.
Like, that's the difference. It's
Yeah,
like they're
yeah,
getting these moments, but they're no longer really missing them. And
yeah.
him specifically,
100.
not to I don't know. I feel like I'm calling out a lot of players today. I don't mean to be.
Jason's like, fuck you.
No, I mean, like,
joking.
I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't good. I feel like he would say the same. Into the pot.
I want to end the podcast, I guess, topic wise, with I think talking about late game winners from
I
midweek.
want one more team.
Okay, fine. Give me your one more team, and then
Quick.
we'll go.
I just want to say that the Seattle Sounders
Yes.
have totally hit that extra gear. They have not allowed more than 1 goal in a game since they lost to San Diego at the beginning of April.
That's a fun fact. I like that.
In MLS play.
Yeah. We're talking MLS. Yes.
Yeah. That's crazy. And sure that – oh, wait. I'm actually lying. I missed
Jason's just missing the 4-0.
Never mind. Everyone ignore that. Just
it was a
cut that out.
4-0 loss to LAFC.
Yeah,
right?
no, we're not even talking about it. How did I miss that? That's
It's all
so bad.
good.
My point is, I still think they're hitting. Like,
Yes.
my point still stands. I still think they're hitting some really, really good form. We saw Ferreira get off the mark finally here.
Did you see, like, after he scored that goal, he ran to the corner flag to celebrate or whatever, and I wrote it down in the notes, but I wanted to mention it here. You could almost just visibly see the relief just come off of his shoulders that he finally got that first goal for the Sounders. He hasn't been good this year.
I do feel like he is one of those strikers that if he's not scoring, it's sort of like, what are you doing? Is that too harsh? Like,
yeah, because he's a big hold-up guy. I feel like he's a big,
but like, I think for him, it's a night and day what the player looks like if you score it.
Yeah, I agree. If Jesus Ferreira isn't like back to goal, just assisting everyone like crazy or putting the ball in the back of the net every other game, he almost disappears on the field for me at least. And then obviously, they haven't had Jordan Morris healthy, so he's had to step up. Danny Musovski's has had to step up for how much
and has
but for how much that they traded for him in the offseason, you'd want Jesus Ferreira to step up a little bit more than what he has. My hope for him specifically as the player is that, this is just the moment he needed, the goal he needed, a
open the floodgates a little bit,
game winner, and let's start scoring a little bit more.
Plus, he's being like asked to form good bonds with basically all new players.
Yeah, with Rusnak.
Like, it's not the easiest thing to do, especially after being in Dallas for however many years.
Yeah, and I think if you exclude, right, like the Jordan Morris's, Roldans of the world that he's played with, obviously at the international level, you're still talking Pedro de la Vega, Ryan Kent, Albert
Yeah.
Rusnak. You're talking guys, Manungu and Paul Rothrock, guys who he has
The talent is crazy on this team.
the depth and the talent, and Jackson Reagan hasn't played since the beginning of the year because he's been injured, and they've been pretty good defensively. Obviously, not the same defensive record as Jason was saying, but still pretty good defensively in all of that.
I do think they're hitting a defensive, like outside of that LAFC game. It's been a while since they allowed more than a goal.
Yes, they've been good, and
I just messed up. I'm sorry, listeners. My eyes don't always work.
I just wanted to say about the Sounders, and I'll quickly say it for Miami too. The Sounders have 2 more games until their Club World Cup debut. They play Botafogo on June 15th, Atletico Madrid on June 19th, and PSG on June 23rd. Jesus,
all these Club World Cup teams are just going to be dead, especially the Sounders. Like, these aren't healthy people.
It's just so Sounders. I love your organization. I love what you guys do, and one of the best organizations, if not the best organization in Major League Soccer, from how you run a club from the top down. But y'all about to get fucking smacked 3 games in a row, and I hope
Take your money and run. Take your money and run.
I hope there's a result against Botafogo so you guys can get even more money. And then on the Inter Miami side, obviously they are the other team guaranteed playing in the Club World Cup. They had a big 4-2 win over CF Montreal midweek. Messi, Suarez doing Messi and Suarez things, but Miami, they only have 1 more game to play until their Club World Cup debut. They have Al Ahly on June 14th, FC Porto on June 19th, and Palmeiras on June 23rd. Not as bad of a schedule, but I'm still not sitting here feeling confident that they're going to pull off more than a result potentially. So that's what I'll say about the 2 Club World Cup teams for sure. But yeah, the only thing that I wanted to finish up the episode with was just late game goals, and I think there was a bunch of them midweek and really fun. Jamal Tiari completing the comeback for Atlanta United with their 3-2 win over Orlando City. Tiari quietly 3 goals in his last 4 games for Atlanta. For DC United versus the Revolution, it was a 1-1 game. Gabriel Pirani hit an absolute banger to level things up at the end of that one. With FC Cincinnati, FC Dallas, Sebastian Ibiaga looking like a professional striker out there, fucking snapping that head for a banger late game tie goal there for Ibiaga. And then it was Philly Union scored 2 late goals. Kai Wagner with the game winner in stoppage time. And then I'm pretty sure that was it, but still the amount
Austin.
Oh yeah, sure. Austin and Diego Rubio in stoppage time, saving a point at home there. So thank you for calling that one out. The amount of late game dramatics last night had my heart going everywhere. It was. I'm trying to keep up. I'm trying to watch the new game starting, and there's just like goal.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this one started. Oh, and a goal.
Yeah, there's a goal in the 90+2 in 3 games in a row. Shocker. So yeah, a lot of fun goals. To me, the Ibiaga goal might have just been my favorite, just because of how Ibiaga looked like, just an absolute stud number 9, just sitting there and professional headed goal there. So that might be my favorite from all of those, but just a bunch of fun with the midweek games for sure. Jason, let's finish.
Game of the week.
Really quick, Galaxy still winless. Woohoo. I'm not talking about them any more than I've already talked about them this season.
I think we don't talk about them until they win a game.
we don't say that word until the Galaxy word.
Watch them win this week. I'm gonna be so bad now.
All right, Jason, give me your Saturday game of the week that is excluding LAFC versus.
Okay, good, because I was like, it feels like a cop out. I think so. I feel like an obvious answer for Saturday, but I do think Nashville versus New York City is going to be a fun game.
Okay.
Worth watching. I think the obvious answer is probably Miami versus Columbus, for obvious reasons. I don't need to go into depth there.
Yeah, I think it's 2 teams that need to build off good performances, and both teams need. I know Miami's won 2 in a row, but they need good performances. I'd also just throw in Red Bulls Atlanta.
I would have said that one too. If it was like gold, silver, bronze, those are the 3.
Miranchuk has been much better, and since he's been better, Atlanta United's winning games. It's kind
I
of
believe
shocking.
in Atlanta. I need to see some more though. I need them to continue to put in performances.
I don't know if I believe in Atlanta, but that's fine. That is
I
fine.
believe in Latte Loth. I need him to get some more goals, please.
Also, since we didn't talk about the weekend games, this wasn't on my brain, but just best wishes to Nick Hagland, who broke
Oh my
two
God,
ribs,
yeah.
punctured his lung, and Cincinnati fans, I don't think that was a absolute Latte Loth was trying to injure, hurt, do anything poor to Nick Hagland. I think it was just an unfortunate play that probably he deserved a foul on, but wasn't like
I think the aftermath of all that is not needed to be mentioned, nor do I want to indulge the people who are freaking out
I'm just saying
on
I don't
either
think
side of it. Yeah, it was shitty. Yeah, it was 100% a foul and should have been called in the game. Yeah, a lot
yeah.
of things were wrong about that whole thing.
And it was just a
I
really
don't.
poor result for Nick Hagland,
Yeah,
ultimately.
and
So
pretty scary. So like, let's just be happy that he's doing pretty well now. So
yes. So love out there to Nick Hagland and his family. Jason, I feel like we should mention, again, Sunday game of the week. There's only 2 games on Sunday. We're not
both are bangers though,
I
right?
mean, Cruz Azul, Vancouver Whitecaps, the Champions Cup final is there. But yes, give me
But yeah.
the other one if
I
you
mean,
want.
Seattle versus Minnesota is going to be a good game, like for a lot of reasons. Like again, like there's some good games that really don't need to be talked. Like I don't need to convince people. I shouldn't need to.
The goalkeeper matchup on Sunday between Stephen Fry and Dane St. Clair is just
Yeah.
chef's. It's going to be just absolute all.
How about Stephen Fry, man? This guy's the most automatic man of all time.
When do we start putting Stephen Fry in the conversation of he might be the best MLS goalkeeper of all time over like a Nick Raimondo?
I mean, I feel like we can
Does
put
it
him in the
happen already?
conversation.
I
Like
know.
in the
Sorry,
conversation.
conversation is a poor way of wording it.
Uh,
When do we definitively say that moment? I guess. I
I would
think you
have
could
to
say
go look at the stats, but I kind of like based off of performances I can genuinely remember Stephen Fry putting in, I would put him in that. I would probably put him ahead. I don't know.
you know what? Fair. We're gonna definitively say that on this podcast. Stephen Fry,
I
best
would like to
MLS
look at the
goalkeeper of all
stats
time.
of both and
Mhm.
games and blah 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 to
No,
like
we're saying
okay, you know what? Definitive, yeah. Because there are actual games I can remember in my brain that Stephen Fry just put the team on his back.
MLS Cup being one of them.
Yes.
He won a CONCACAF Champions Cup, or whatever, Champions League, whatever it was at the time. He won it, and there you go. So, boom, we're ending this episode. Stephen Fry is the greatest MLS goalkeeper of all time. Jason, thank you so much for recording with me. Listeners, viewers, thank you guys for listening to us rant for an hour and 2 minutes. I won't be here next week, so we won't be back next week unless, Jason, you want to do a random one-off pod. I will be in Canada.
If there well, I guess there's gonna be interesting shit to talk about.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I don't
So
want to do that without you. I'm not
okay,
doing that
then
without
we'll
you.
we'll be back in 2 weeks. We'll be back in 2 weeks. I'm gonna be in Canada, so I will be in the motherland of Canada while
Mhm.
watching the Vancouver Whitecaps. I won't be in Vancouver. Not going. Well, the game's not in Canada, but whatever. I'm not gonna be in Vancouver. I'm gonna be on a fishing trip, and I hopefully will be having some good catches while the Vancouver Whitecaps will be having some good goals, and we can celebrate once I get back, Jason. So thank you all
Nice.
for listening, and you'll hear us in 2 weeks. So thank you guys. Bye.